Hey guys, I'm just doing some chores, and after I finish taking out the trash, we're going to get into part 3 of Wimpy Kid to Getaway. Alright guys, I'm done with my chores and it's time to get into part 3 of our reading. But first, I want to do a little summary of what happened last week. Well, Greg and his family finally got on the plane, but Greg was having a little trouble with the passengers he was sitting next to, because they had a crying baby and he was stuck and he couldn't get out to use the bathroom. Yeah, that's basically what happened in last week's reading. Okay, we will start on page 61 today. In science class, we learned that when human waste gets dropped out of an airplane toilet, it freezes solid. Some guy in my town once found a chunk of waste that fell from a plane and he thought it was a meteorite. I think the guy was hoping to sell it for a lot of money, but once the thing thawed, he found out what he had was totally worthless. Once I was settled into the bathroom, I figured there was no reason to go back to my seat. So whenever someone else came along to use it, I just made bathroom noise until they went away. One person must have really needed to go because they shook the door handle so hard that I thought it might actually break off. Then they went away, but a few minutes later, the whole bathroom shook. Whoever this was needed to use the bathroom a lot more than I did, so I opened the door, but there was no one there. That's when I realized it wasn't just the bathroom shaking, it was the whole plane. I thought we must have landed in the water or lost an engine or something, but then the pilot came over the intercom. Hey, folks, we just hit a little patch of bumpy air. Technical issues, guys. Oh, okay. That didn't sound right to me. I figured what really happened was that the pilot fell asleep in his seat and kicked his steering wheel or something, but then he came up with this bumpy air excuse, because that's exactly what I'd do if I were in the same situation. I guess the flight attendant could see that I was pretty rattled. He said we were just going through a little turbulence, which is perfectly normal for a flight like this. Well, if this kind of thing is normal, then there's no chance I'm ever becoming a pilot, because if I were flying a plane, I'd be out there at the first sign of trouble. The flight attendant told me I needed to return to my seat and buckle up, but when I got back there, it was already occupied. I didn't want to move the baby because I knew it would just wake up and start crying again. It's messed up. So I went up to the front of the plane to kick Roger out of first class and let him deal with the baby, but I couldn't get to him. One of the wheels on the beverage car had broken because of turbulence and it was blocking my way. I was out of options, so I went to my seat. Don't ask me how, but I was actually able to get an hour or two of sleep. And I was so tired I didn't even wake up when we landed. I was so worried about getting through the flight that I never thought where we were actually going. But when I stepped off the plane, it was like walking into a whole new world. I've got to admit, as soon as I felt that tropical air hit my skin, I could understand why Dad was so eager to escape the cold back home. We got our luggage off of the conveyor belt in the baggage claim, then followed the signs to where a big shuttle bus was waiting. Even though the air outside felt great, the air conditioning on the bus felt even better, and the seats in this thing were nicer than the ones in first class. Once all the passengers boarded the bus, we headed to the resort. A video played on the overhead monitor, and it was about 1,000,000 times more fun than the one on the plane. The video showed all the cool activities at the resort, and I wanted to do them all. One of the activities was swimming with dolphins, and that's something I've always wanted to do. But there was a bunch of other stuff that looked cool too. I was hoping they might let us combine activities so I could do everything before we had to go back home. I felt kind of bad for being negative about this trip up until then, and then I turned around to tell mom and dad I was sorry, but I wish I had just kept watching the video instead. When we stepped off the bus at the resort, the staff greeted us and handed mom and dad frozen drinks. Welcome to paradise. We gave our bags to these guys wearing white gloves and they said they'd take them directly to our room, and I gotta say, I was impressed. We went to the front desk and a lady there explained how everything worked. She said the resort was all inclusive, so we didn't need to use cash or credit cards. The way we paid for stuff was with these plastic cards that doubled as our room keys. Mom and Dad told the receptionist that they wanted to stay in the same building they stay in for their honeymoon. But the lady said the resort had changed since then. She said that now the resort was split into two halves, the wild side and the mild side. The place Mom and Dad had stayed was on the wild side, and the kids aren't allowed over there. So she showed us where our buildings was on the map. Isla de Corrales Resort. I could tell Dad was disappointed by the changes, but Mom said it was better this way. She said this was a family trip and we didn't need to be around a bunch of young couples partying anyway. I didn't really care which side of the resort we on because it looked to me like both sides had the same basic stuff. What I really cared about was the room. Usually when my family stays at a hotel, we all share a room, and I had to sleep on a cot or a sofa bed, so I was pretty shocked to find out we were in a suite with plenty of space. There were two rooms in the suite. We all had to share one bathroom, but me and Roger each had our own bed, which was the main thing. All I can say is, Mom and Dad must have dropped a lot of money on this trip. There was a TV in the room I was sharing with Roger, but even better than that, there was a robe in the closet. I called the robe right away, but Roger didn't even fight me for it. Roger always makes fun of me when I wear his mom's robe back at home, but I think robes are cool, and there are a lot of guys out there who would agree with me on that. The shower in the bathroom was huge, and all the floors and sinks and everything were made of marble. There was a TV above the bathtub, and there was even a phone next to the toilet. I figured if I could get room service delivered to the bathroom, I'd have everything I needed in one place. From the balcony in Mom and Dad's room, I could see the pool over on the wild side of the resort, and it was really big. It wasn't just some regular pool either. It looked kind of like a river and had all these islands in the middle of it. Mom said it was one of the biggest freeform pools in the world. I was pretty excited about that because I knew we had the same thing on our side of the resort. I wanted to go check it out, but first I needed to change my clothes. I went to open the big suitcase, but it was locked. I asked Dad for the key, but he said our suitcases didn't have a lock. Dad looked at the tag of the suitcase, and it had someone else's name on it. It turns out we had accidentally grabbed the wrong suitcase from baggage claim at the airport because it was too late. Before it was too late. Dad called the airline to see if they still had our suitcase. But the people at the airline said that no one had claimed our bag. It was sent back to the address on the luggage tag. It wasn't a total disaster though. We moved some clothes from the big suitcase to our carry-on bag back at the airport, so we had a few things. I had my bathing suit, but I didn't have a lot of other stuff. My flip-flops and sunglasses were in the big bag, along with a bunch of other things I had packed. Dad said they sell the stuff we were missing at the resort store, so we went down to check it out. But everything in the store cost 5 times as much as it would have back home, and Dad said he wasn't going to pay those prices. Mom said she could wear the same clothes every day and wash them ourselves, so the only thing we bought in there was a bottle of sunscreen and a toy pail and shovel for Manny to use at the beach. Mom said it's really important to wear sunscreen at a place like this because it's so close to the equator, but she didn't have to convince me. I've seen what the sun can do to your skin, and I don't want to look like a raisin when I'm older. That's the reason I spend as much time indoors as I can, and later on in life, all my friends are gonna wish they had too. I thought the fact that we came during Christmas break meant we have to place to ourselves, but I guess a lot of people had the same exact idea. It wasn't just the pool that was crowded though. There were people everywhere. I was looking forward to relaxing in a hot tub until I saw it. We found a few lounge chairs in the shade and put our stuff down. You could tell it was the middle of the winter because just about everyone looked out of shape, just like me. Every once in a while, I think about exercising and getting really buff, but in the future, I'll bet everyone would just be able to take a pill and get fit without having to exercise anyway. But in great shape, being in great shape will be normal, and all the people who aren't fit will be the ones everyone's attracted to. So if I just stick with my current exercise plans, I'll be all set. The pool was too crowded to go swimming, so I decided to just put a towel on my head and catch up on some sleep. Even though it was hot out, there was a nice breeze and I started to drift off, but right in the middle of my nap, some guy showed up and ruined the whole vibe. This guy called himself the director of fun, and apparently his job was to get everybody moving. Unfortunately, this guy was good at his job, and somehow he wrote me into one of the activities. But I wish he hadn't because there was a lot more touching than I was comfortable with. After the conga line ended, the director of fun said the next activity was the treasure dive, and it was just for kids. I wasn't interested in doing some stupid kiddie thing, so I sat back down. But when he hauled out a giant bucket of coins, that got my attention. He told all his kids to line up at the edge of the pool, and then he started tossing giant handfuls of cash in the water, and it wasn't a bunch of pennies either. It was dimes and quarters, and I'm pretty sure I saw some silver dollars in there too. By the time the bucket was empty, there must have been 400 bucks sitting at the bottom of the pool. Everyone waited along the edge for the director of fun to blow his whistle. When he did, it was a total free-for-all. I managed to get about $2 in coins on my first dive, and I put them at the edge of the pool near my lounge chair, but some sneaky kid swooped in and cleaned me out. He wasn't the only cheater though. Some kid in the pool was actually wearing pants and he stuffed his pockets full of coins. They gave everyone else the same idea, and our kids were stuffing coins wherever they could. When it was all over, I think I ended up with about $3 and change. After the kids cleared out of the pool, I figured it was a good time to get in the water and go for a relaxing swim. I found a shady spot in the pool and leaned against the wall, but then I heard some rustling in the bushes behind me, and all of a sudden I was face to face with something that looked like it came straight from Jurassic Park. I was out of there so fast, I actually skipped across the water. I told the lifeguard that there was some kind of dinosaur at the edge of the pool, but he needed to clear everyone out of there before someone got hurt. But the lifeguard didn't even seem phased. He said the giant lizard was just an iguana, and they're all over the resort. Then he said that sometimes the iguanas even like to go for a dip in the pool. Well, that changed everything for me. My feeling on giant lizard is that they should be in a zoo, not mingling with us human beings. I was done with the pool, so I asked Mom if we could get some lunch. Okay. this will end it for today, guys. Thank you for sitting here and listening with me, and I'll see you next time.